Welcome to SubEx, our pilot episode. That would be episode number 1. My name is Tony, and I've got
Jose.
And what's different about this show than other shows that I've done, which this is a brand off Submerge and Experiment. Maybe you guys have seen it. I don't think you have because there's only been one episode.
I shot it.
Only one episode. So, what's different about this one is that we're limiting our discussion to 5 minutes. So we're gonna have 5 minutes, talk about a different topic every week that's related to Christian or to culture or just something that maybe people have questions on that are concerning the Bible or faith. This week though, the topic is called, Are Christians Christian? Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You okay?
I'm all right.
All right, let me set the clock. 5 minutes, here we go. Are Christians Christians?
Most cases, no.
No? The reason why I ask that is because this day and age, we can call ourselves Christians, but that doesn't mean anything anymore. Nope. Back in the day, when you said that you're a Christian, okay, well, you expected certain things. You expected, oh, you don't lie, you don't cuss, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't go out with those who do, and you don't do the naughty before marriage. But this day and age, you ask somebody, hey, you a Christian? Yeah. But you have no idea what they stand for. And I think that's kind of a concern because we're kind of blending into the world.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree. First case in point that comes to my mind is when rappers call themselves, hey, I want to thank God for everything he's done for me. I've made money. I've done everything with every chick out there. I've been out to clubs and everything. You know, it doesn't really make them a Christian or a follower of Christ just because they say thank God, or any other form of tattoo or any type of thing they say on their album doesn't make them a Christian or a follower of Christ.
I do find that kind of hilarious because they're thanking God for giving them an award, but their album is filled with a bunch of stuff that is not represented in the Bible. As a matter of fact, a lot of their stuff that they're talking about is kind of sin. And I think that this brings a concern because then you start watering down what it means to follow Christ. You start taking things out of context. Like Christians, in a sense, the ones that do follow Christ, they're called a whole bunch of names. Yeah. They're called bigots because they may not believe in gay marriage. They're called haters because they have this thing that's called submission when it comes to the man and the wife. Of course, that's taken totally out of context. And so everything's watered down. People aren't really clear on it, and then they're following something that really isn't true.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I think in this point, in this case, is that in our lives, you know, I do call myself a Christian. I do call myself a follower of Christ. Yeah. But when I begin to dilute standards, when standards begin to drop, they think, well, then that's the standard, I guess, that's what a Christian's supposed to be. And in essence, It really drops the standard of what God really says, how we're supposed to live, how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to talk, and everything we say and do. And if people see that we're dropping the standard, what makes them think that they won't drop the standard to what they think is right for them? Right.
And don't get me wrong. The people that are in church, hey, they're not perfect. We are in church for a reason because we're not perfect. We're trying to change. The only thing is that we're changing to a standard that's way down here instead of a standard that's right here. We don't grow. We stop reading our Bible. You know, we'll read it for a few weeks because we're all excited. Hey, I'm following God. We'll keep to some of the things that it teaches in the Bible. Hey, you know what? I'll donate a couple of cents into the offering or into some bucket that I see at Walmart. But that's as far as we go. So I think the problem is that our society is just getting a little laxed. And as Christians, the ones that are a little bit more mature, we've got to know when to speak up. Yeah. Jesus spoke up many times. Sometimes he was forceful, and sometimes he was a little bit more passive. Right?
True. Would you agree? I believe when it's a good point to bring up. Jesus talked to 2 types of people. He either talked to the ignorant sinner, to the person who didn't know about a love that was out there for them, and or he talked to the Christians, the Pharisees, the so-called leaders of God's church at that time. He either called them, you know, you brood of vipers, you're full of dead man's bones, or he can talk to a woman at the well and talk to her about rivers of living water, or talk to Zacchaeus and say, hey man, tonight I'm gonna eat at your table. You know, there are 2 types of Christians who Jesus talked to. So yes, Jesus was forceful, but to the believers and to the ones that represent who they're supposed to be, and to the sinner, to the ignorant person, he showed them love.
Right. So I think in closing in this discussion, because we don't have very long, 5 minutes is almost up, is that I want to encourage you to identify the problems that you have maybe in your life and look at what the goal should be. Write it down on a piece of paper, put it inside a journal, talk to a friend and say, hey, look, I've noticed that this I'm having a little problem with, and maybe we can research it a little bit inside the Bible. Talk to a pastor, somebody who has some kind of leadership experience, to make sure that they're taking the Bible and putting it into correct context, not taking things out of context. So you got to identify the problem, think of a plan, and go for it. And don't be discouraged if you don't hit your goal right away, because it just doesn't happen. I mean, I've been in this faith thing for a long time, and I'm still an imperfect person. But every day I try and become perfect, knowing that I'm never ever gonna reach there, but that's not gonna stop me. Cool? Cool. Looks like 5 minutes is up. Thank you for joining us this week, this month, whatever. I don't know how often we're gonna do this, but go find me up on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. It's all Supertone37. Also check out thechristianpulse.com, where this will be uploaded.